especially this day and age, you should have implemented business SMS, text messaging campaigns. And it's never really been a better time than now to dive into that tactic. Why? Why is it growing in popularity? Well, aside from the fact that digital business just keeps booming, there are several other important reasons for you to consider SMS, single messages in text format, to your marketing arsenal. So let's go through some statistics. 98% open rate. Yep, you heard me. We could stop right there. Now, these are statistics from various sources, and they do vary out there. And I've seen this statistic as low as 2/3, okay, 65, 66%. But nonetheless, substantially higher than email. And 90% of those are usually read in the first 3 minutes. So you kind of treat this thing a lot like a Twitter post. It doesn't tend to hang there when somebody gets to it because you always got that device in your hand. Also, if you're a user of coupons, they are 10 times more likely to get engaged with in an SMS message than any other form of delivery. Wow. So, furthermore, they're 40 times more likely to convert to a transaction. And after opting in, 75% of consumers are happy to receive them. So, there you have it. SMS message, one of the best ways for you to market your company or your brand, right? No big deal. Let's go. Well, what's holding most businesses back is why this topic is important and why it matters. So after you've heard all of these statistics, 30% of marketers still miss out on the opportunity of using SMS, simply because they're afraid of the compliance regulations that go along with it. And they are substantially different than email delivery or social media posts. Okay? It can get kind of scary. Hang in there, because we're going to make it really easy for you. Just let's keep going. Because compliance isn't a joke. Papa John's, for example, they had to pay $16 million in a class action suit because they weren't compliant on the consent side. Whew. Consequences for non-compliance can lead to massive financial damages. They can range from $500 to $1,500 per text message for each person who didn't give or offer consent. Before you start shaking in your boots, let's just kind of keep on moving with a simple outline so you know how to avoid this from happening to you. So what do you need to know about text message laws and regulations? Obviously, the whole point of the SMS compliance laws is to protect individuals from receiving text messages they don't want. Makes sense, right? So if you just start with that mindset, the rest should seem natural. First, let's go over the 7 important guidelines you need to follow. Customers must provide express written consent. You can't send any text message to your customers until you have their express written consent, and you can't bury the written consent in a list of other stuff or on your policy and procedure privacy page. Can't do that. You need to be simple and clear and state that this is what they are agreeing to, that they absolutely know what they're signing up for. To obtain that consent, you would do one of the following. Text a keyword that grants consent. Enter a phone number on a web form. Give written consent in person. Say you're at an event or whatever. So those are the various ways that you can go consent. Just make sure it's well spelled out. By providing that information is giving consent. Now here's some other things to keep in mind. Every SMS message applies, even if you aren't sending anything promotional. It's illegal to require an opt-in in order for somebody to purchase what you sell. You'll need to be able to prove that you have consent on the SMS platform itself. Even if you're importing customers into your business SMS message platform, you're still required to have their written consent to send them that message. Document, 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 over ask. Point 2, your calls to actions or your CTAs have to be compliant. The words that convince a person to opt in to your SMS campaign are considered a call to action. Each call to action for this purpose must consist of several elements, including your purpose, your frequency, the rates at which you plan to inform people, and what your terms and conditions are, like your company or your brand identity information, contact information, description of exactly what you're signing up for, instructions for how to opt out, with words most commonly used are reply with stop to stop or to unsubscribe. That stop needs to permanently eliminate somebody from all text messages, not just for that campaign. And it should be really difficult for them to get back into that campaign. Anyway, you can view some of those call to actions at viralsolutions.net in our blog, and you'll see where we have a lot of this info. Number 3, send a confirmation message. The first text message that you send to people after they opt in must be a message that confirms they have opted in. It should include the following information, even if it seems redundant. Some form of company identity, message frequency, message and data rates will apply. That means to them they might get upcharged for this. Instructions on how to opt out. We talked about reply stop, to unsubscribe, opt out, or to stop all messages. Most business SMS messaging software builds those features right into it automatically, but don't assume so. Number 4, SHAFT. Don't text these. SHAFT stands for sex, hate, alcohol, firearms, tobacco. Businesses are not allowed to text anything related to these topics or include anything about them in their CTA. It's one of the worst violations, and there's very, very few exceptions. If your company is a bar, you can probably still send messages about happy hour specials, but in order to do so, you'll need to operate on a dedicated toll-free number, and you'll need to use an age gate to prevent people under 21 from signing up and opting into this service. And you have to be really careful about how you word your happy hour special. Number 5, adhere to timing guidelines. We don't need to write several paragraphs about this one. It's pretty simple. Text messages should be sent between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. time zone of the recipient. Okay? That tends to be a standardized guideline all across the planet. Sure, certain countries have different rules, but if you follow that one, you'll be really, really close with all of them. Check on compliance with your attorney, of course. Number 6, Determine if you need single opt-in or double opt-in into your SMS text messaging. Whether you need a single or double opt-in depends on the way you're receiving consent. Here's what we mean. Single opt-in, you can use single opt-in if you've received consent through an SMS message. If they texted you a keyword to opt in an SMS sequence, you're good to go. Double opt-in, however, you need to use that if you receive consent by another means. Then you need to use double opt-in. That might include an email web form where you have a tack on for SMS, check boxes on a form, handwritten consent, verbal consent. These are things where SMS needs to be used, and yes, they need to confirm for you to be compliant. Number 7, how to be compliant with your opt-outs. Business SMS messages are classified as spam if they don't conform to proper opt-out protocols, even if requested by the recipient. Here's the best way to handle opt-outs. You got to take it really easy for them to opt out. Make it simple. The easiest way is reply stop to opt out. Reply stop to stop. Reply stop to unsubscribe from text messages. Get it? Make it really simple. Okay? Continually reiterate how easy it is to opt out of your subscription to SMS. Acknowledge each opt-out by replying with a confirmation opt-out message. Of course, it should go without saying that when a person requests to be opted out, you actually opt them out. Your software should take care of this for you and make it impossible for you to resend an opt-in. We use Twilio at Viral Solutions for this feature. They keep track of all of that. Even if we mistakenly put an opt-out message in there, they will not send it. Know your specific regulations and guidelines, because each country has different SMS messaging regulations, and each industry can also have some different guidelines that you need to follow. Some great places to find information in great detail for your industry or your business is the Mobile Marketing Association's Consumer Best Practices for Messaging, or the Wireless Industry Association's CTIA Short Code Monitoring Program. These guidelines we've provided here provide primarily to the United States. In the U.S., nonprofits are exempt from the opt-in and do not call requirements of the TCPA, which is the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Now, that doesn't mean that you should purposely avoid being compliant. We highly suggest, even if you're a nonprofit, to be compliant. It's just a good business practice. Great customer service shows that you care about what they may perceive as being bothered. Because these great stats of click-throughs and opt-ins and open rates of SMS are because they've got the device in hand, and people tend to pay attention to that immediately. So, in return, you should understand that that's something you need to be cognizant of. So here's some final thoughts about business SMS message. As you can tell, when you break it down in layman's terms like we have here, business SMS messaging really isn't that scary. And honestly, it's pretty much common sense when you follow the mindset that you're protecting the privacy of your subscribers. If you want to learn more about implementing the tactic in your marketing strategy, feel free to reach out to us at viralsolutions.net or call us at 888-816-1222. You'll find us all over social media email, yes, maybe even text messaging. And I want you to understand that the information provided in this article was for information purposes only, and it's not intended as legal advice. Now, that doesn't spin the scary right back at you, but you should understand that SMS text messaging used in marketing can be an issue that you should seek legal advice on and not just dive into. Thanks for tuning in to Viral Solutions. Strategize